It is Friday, October 7th in the MLB, and I'm Austin from Calling Our Shot.
And I'm Logan from Calling a Shot.
We are back. The postseason is here. Today, Logan and I are going to give our favorite two picks, and then we'll wrap up the video talking about a parlay of the day, plus our series predictions for these four series.
As always, guys, if you're watching this video and you aren't subscribed, just do us a real quick favor. Go down and hit that subscribe button. Maybe some of you have been with us all season long, but if you haven't, welcome. Let's make some money this playoff season.
Yeah, we've been doing a ton of videos daily. We didn't actually have one yesterday, but let's do a little bit of housekeeping because we have a special guest on today's episode because on the final day of the regular season, we brought out the Brewers. It was a 3-0 sweep. No better way to end the regular season. The Brewers and Diamondbacks go under. The Cubs and Reds, one of the sweatiest nerfies we've cashed all year. And then Glenn Otto gets his over 4.5 Ks, a perfect 3-0 sweep. Nothing better than that. If you want to see, we finished the season, you're up 9 units on props, up almost a little under 8 on games. And nerfies were great to us, plus 25 units, plus 42 on the year. Hopefully we can continue that into the playoffs, and hopefully we can continue to make some money. Did post another tweet, which I thought might have been interesting. Since April 5th, when we started, there was 178 daily MLB videos. Shout out to all the people which watched the videos. We had over 1 million views and 11,000 new subscribers since then. So, Logan and I really do appreciate you guys for tuning into the videos. We're going to keep doing them for the rest of the MLB playoffs. Obviously, the games become a little bit different than they were in the regular season. But, Logan, it's going to be a good time. We have a couple other videos live, parlays and player props live at 12 p.m. Eastern. College football week 6 best bets video, which you guys are showing a ton of love on. That's already live. And then so is our week 5 best bets video for the NFL. We have 2 new All-Stars. It's a long intro, but 2 new All-Stars. We got Chris and Mace. We appreciate you guys for supporting us. But Logan, you got one pick for the people today, and what is it going to be?
Yeah, I do. I do have a money line pick, and it's a plus value money line pick, right? Going to the Mariners versus Blue Jays, and I'm taking the Mariners money line. Plus 116 odds on FanDuel's your best value there. And I mean, really, when it comes down to it, I do really like the value on the Mariners. Look, Alek Manoah is pitching today, and he's got a great quote out there for anybody who hasn't heard it. He said, "Pressure is something you put in your tires." So I butchered that quote, but pressure is something you put in your tires. Let that sink in. This is the starting pitcher. He's just there trying to act cool and collected. And how many times in sports have you seen someone with a quotable moment and then the quote does not age well at all, right? Especially considering Alek Manoah, right? He actually did have a good start, versus Seattle. 7 1/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs versus Seattle back in July. Seattle ended up winning that game though, 2-1. Manoah did not get any run support. Now, if you look at it, right, Seattle are bringing some hot bats into Toronto. They're hitting .318 in their last 3 games, including 7 home runs. Now, why do I bring up the home runs? Well, Manoah, if you never watched Manoah, he's a really, really crafty pitcher. He's really good when he's on. And when he's on, he's throwing pitches that have that late movement, and you just see the batter swinging at air, and they look really ridiculous. But like many pitchers in the league, if he's not getting the movement, his pitches are ending up in bad spots. And when they end up in bad spots, the Mariners are a very capable team of taking a bad pitch for a ride out into the seats. I've seen it several times with Manoah, or Manoah can put on some free base runners via walk, which I've also seen him do. He's one of those pitchers that when he's on him, but when he's off, he's just really struggling with command, and it doesn't look as pretty. And then you got a lot of Blue Jays bettors sitting back wondering, whoa, I thought this guy was supposed to be good. Like, what the heck's going on? I just could see a slip up, today. Seattle also is 3rd in walks drawn. If they practice the plate discipline versus Manoah today, I think they're going to be in a really good spot to get some hits and runs up on him. He's definitely not unhittable. He's a good pitcher. I'm not trashing his game at all, but I'm just saying I've seen weaknesses before because I have bet on Alek Manoah and been scratching my head like, oh, come on, man. That's not what I signed up for. Now, on the other side, we've got Luis Castillo, right? 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and a 1.17 whip versus Toronto back in May. That was when Luis Castillo was pitching with the Reds. So it has obviously been a hot minute. This Blue Jays team looks a lot different now than they did back then. Also, if you look at Castillo's numbers, they're not tremendous, right? 4.81 road ERA, 5.06 road ERA in his last 3 games. But you know what? If you look at his last start, and I just think this is going to carry over, to today. Castillo got back in the groove versus the Oakland A's. You could say, oh, they're the A's, but I don't care, right? 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and 8 Ks versus Oakland. He got his strikeout mojo back. He got the command back, and I think he uses that, those sort of momentum into today versus a very formidable Blue Jays lineup, right? Let's not try to discount what the Blue Jays can do offensively. We know they're good. But where's the difference in this one, right? Get two good, pretty solid starting pitchers. I think the difference in this game, as it always is in postseason baseball, is the bullpens. I do like Seattle's bullpen a lot more than Toronto. I've watched a full season of baseball. I can tell you right now, I hate the Toronto bullpen. Seattle, 6th in bullpen ERA, Toronto, 13th in bullpen ERA. It doesn't look like a huge discrepancy on paper, but I just know there's some characters in that Toronto bullpen that I never want to see late game because they've blown so many games. If the Blue Jays aren't giving Manoah run support too, this game could go sideways for Blue Jays bettors. I just see this one, and I love the value on the Mariners, so I'm going to take a stab at the Mariners money line in game 1 of that series. But Austin, what do you got for us?
Yeah, Logan, I like the value you're getting there, and I think it's got a decent chance. It's the playoffs. Anything can happen. Now, for my pick, I'm going to go to the latest game on the slate, the Mets-Padres. And while I do think the Mets win this game, I'm going to be taking the Padres team total over 2.5 runs, currently minus 115 on FanDuel. Now, yes, I do think the Mets win this game, but I do think that the Padres could get us 3 runs. They can do it in any fashion. They can certainly get it done. And then we face a Max Scherzer. And Max Scherzer, by any stretch of the imagination, is not unhittable. I think in his last start, he gave up 4 runs. Perfectly, teams are capable of hitting him and getting some runs up on base. He's given up a home run or 2 in each of his past couple starts. And look at the Padres; they're a team that's doing decently. They're hitting 254 with a 329 on base percentage for right-handed pitchers the last 2 weeks. That's right around top 10 in the league. And you look at the guys on the Padres team; they got guys like Machado, Myers, Alfaro, Grisham, Bell, Profar. All these guys have seen Scherzer a good amount of times, 15 plus plate appearances versus them, and whether or not they've hit him well or not is. I mean, some of them have hit him well, some struggled, but I do think they'll be able to get some base runners in this game. And you look at when you get to the playoffs, teams aren't looking, to just go on a hit parade, and that's the only way they're going to score runs. You're going to see teams trying to manufacture runs, whether they get a leadoff double, maybe getting a sacrifice bunt to get the guy to third, things like that to lead into a sac fly. Teams are just trying to generate offense come the playoffs, and that's a team like the Padres could get us 3 runs today. And I'd argue, you look at this series, all the pressure is going to be on the New York Mets. The Mets are going to be the team in the spotlight because they're supposed to win the series. They're supposed to win their division. They're supposed to be a team that's going to compete for the World Series. I look at a team like the Padres. Sure, they made that Juan Soto trade. Everyone was very hyped up for them. They're not favored to win the series. They shouldn't win this series, in my opinion. But there's going to be a lot more pressure on the Mets team to perform, and I think that could bite them. Look at Scherzer, 3.22 ERA, 1.1 WHIP in this postseason career. And over the last 30 games, when Scherzer comes out, the Mets bullpen, 3.82 bullpen ERA. And that bullpen relies heavily on the strikeout. If they're not striking out guys, they're going to give up some base runners. 9th fewest strikeouts in the MLB for the Padres this year. So I do think the Padres got a good chance. They could lose 12-3 for all I care, but I think they have a good chance at least getting us 3 runs. I think 3 is such a low number. All it takes is one bad pitch from Scherzer with a guy or 2 on. You're sitting with 2 runs in like the 3rd or 4th inning, and then we're just needing one more run the rest of the game. So I like the Padres team total over 2.5 runs. Logan's riding with Mariners money line. Unfortunately, people, there is no on first inning. We might not do another one for the rest of the season. So those are 2 picks, but let's kind of dive in, Logan, and talk about these series predictions. Now, we kind of already talked about Blue Jays and Mariners, so we'll kind of start with that one. Do you assume the Mariners win, I believe?
Yeah, I think the Mariners have a really good shot at winning this series, and that's probably going to be my pick in this one. Look, the value is insane. I would run out and just sprinkle on it right now because this Mariners team just feels like a team of destiny. They finally broke their playoff drought, and I know the city of Seattle will be rooting them on hard. I think the Mariners do win the series. I just hate the Blue Jays. There's something about me betting baseball. You see through them. You're like, they're a great offense on paper. They have some great pitching on paper, but they just never seem to put it together.
Yeah, in terms of who I think wins that, I think that series goes 3. I don't know who wins the first game. Then Robbie Ray comes up in the second game for the Mariners. A little bit of a revenge factor, but I think that series goes 3. I think it's going to be a coin toss with whatever pitchers we get in that 3rd game. I think it's kind of similar to this Mets series. I think a lot of the pressure is going to be on the Blue Jays. This is the Mariners team that just, got into the playoffs. They're happy to be there. They're just going to go out there and play with house money, in my opinion. But I think the Blue Jays get it done, but I'm not really going to sprinkle on this series. Then we'll talk about the one I kind of touched on. I think the Mets win this series, but who do you think?
I think the Mets win the series as well. I think up and down. I like the Mets bats better. I think they have the offense to kind of simply outscore the Padres. When in playoff baseball, sometimes 4 runs gets it done, and I think the Mets are definitely capable of putting up 4 runs against pretty much any Padres pitcher they trot out there. And the pressure is also on the Mets. I think it's going to set up a juicy series next round. I know I'm looking ahead a little bit, but I think the Mets get it done.
Yeah, we'll have to bring up like the whole series thing or World Series map next video. But then let's tackle the other 2 series we haven't talked about. Who do you got in the Rays and Guardians, the earlier game at 12 p.m. start time?
Yeah, so this is another one where I see a lot of value in the underdog Rays. I really do think the Rays have a really good shot at pulling this one out. Now I'll take the Rays, sure, why not? The Rays are one of those teams that they always find ways to win when it matters. Backs against the wall, the Rays get it done. Everybody have been riding the Guardians like a wagon. They've been extremely profitable recently for everybody. I think they're gonna just find out that playoff baseball is a little bit different. I like the Rays hitters a little bit better than the Guardians. I know the Guardians have some really solid top half of the lineup, but I just think the Rays can manufacture runs, and I do like the Rays pitching at the end of the day more.
Yeah, when I was trying to, I realize I haven't pulled up, the value for these games, but you're looking at the Rays at plus 106 and the Guardians at minus 124. Now, I could go either way on this one. I kind of personally want to. I actually live near the Rays Stadium, so I can root for them, but I kind of want to root for the Guardians. They're just a team that's never been there. So I'm going to root for the Guardians. I don't know if they can get it done. I know their bullpen's really good. And both teams have a pretty good bullpen. So I don't imagine we see a lot of runs in these series. But I'm going to root for the Guardians. They're the home team. I'm going to root for them. I'm not convinced the Rays could score runs consistently. Every time we pick a Rays game, they always give us 0 runs. So I'm not convinced they can get it done. As for the last series that we haven't touched on, Phillies, Cardinals. I know you're a closet, maybe not closet Cardinals fan. Do you think they win the series?
I'm not a closet Cardinals fan anymore. I am sort of a Phillies fan, so I like both teams, honestly. if that's a thing, but who I think wins the series in this one, I do think the Cardinals get it done. Look, I just think when playoff baseball happens and the scores get tighter, the offense is going to matter even more than it has. And I think this Phillies offense is just extremely suspect. Like outside of the Kyle Schwarber home runs, outside of some Rhys Hoskins extra base hits, just where's the consistent production? I just don't see it in playoff time. And I don't like the Phillies bullpen at all. I never have. And even though it has gotten a lot better, they're still like over the last 30 days, they're definitely in the upper echelon of ERA. So I do think the Cardinals, I do think the Redbirds win in advance in this one.
I would allow that because that means we get to see more Albert Pujols, and that guy's the machine. But I can't believe you're going against. I'm old enough to remember when you picked the Phillies to win the World Series at the All-Star break. So I'm going to ride with your hometown Phillies. I think they have the better pitching staff, at least starting pitchers, than the Cardinals do. I don't trust any of the Cardinals starting pitchers. They got Quintana, they got Waino. I don't trust any of them. And if one of those guys can't go very far, and you're putting in the Cardinals bullpen, which has Gallegos, they have Jordan Hip. I can't trust those guys. Those guys can give up 5 runs at 1 inning. Well, the Phillies definitely have guys that can do that too. I think the Phillies are going to get it done. I just trust their starting pitching a little bit more. And Cardinals hitting, this is a very good matchup because I think this one could go either way. I think two teams that sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're losing to the Pirates. That's just what happens. But I don't know. It's going to be a good one. That's one of the series I'm kind of looking forward to really watching.
Yeah, me too. That's going to be exciting. I'm curious who comes out of that one. You kind of straddled the fence in your prediction in that one, but pick Phillies. Pick Phillies with your chest next time. The city of Philadelphia will back you, with some excitement if you pick it with your chest.
I am all in on Phillies. 10-unit max whale play. We're riding Phillies to win the series, plus 102. Those are our 2 picks of the day, plus our series predictions. Let us know who you guys think wins these series and the World Series down below. We'll see you guys back again tomorrow for some more predictions. Hopefully ours do pretty well today. Logan Austin, we're signing out. Go check out those other videos popping up on the screen. We'll see you guys again tomorrow.